Kaylee Goncalves is one of 4 victims stabbed to death in Moscow, Idaho. 3 months before she was murdered, police spoke to Kaylee at her off-campus residence where there was a party going on. We have the body cam video.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
And I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight, we examine whether there are any connections to the parties at the house that were going on and the accused killer. Also, we retrace the route taken by the white Hyundai Elantra just before the murders. We take a look at where he went, where he stopped, and what he could see before entering the home.
I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you with us. Our coverage of what happened in Idaho continues this hour. And I want to begin talking about the victims because we got to take a minute every once in a while, take a step back. You know, there's a lot of focus on this accused killer. Let's remember what this is about and what the loss was here. It was immense. We're talking about Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. 4 students who should be enjoying themselves right now. They really should be. They should be living their lives, the great lives that they were building, first as students and getting ready to get into the real world and do great things. Now, one thing I think we also have to keep in mind here is this will likely be a trial. I don't see this criminal defendant pleading guilty. I don't see him getting a deal offered by prosecutors. And oftentimes at a trial, what we see defendants and their counsel do is kind of go after the victims and try to dirty up the victims or make them look like they're doing something wrong. I want to make one thing really clear right here, is that these 4 victims did nothing wrong. They just didn't. I mean, they weren't even engaging in any type of behavior that would raise their level of risk that we see in some cases that we cover here on Court TV. They're doing what college students from coast to coast do. And there is no finger to point back at them. They did nothing wrong. They didn't encourage this. They didn't take part in any sort of conduct or behavior that would make them the likely victims or a more likely victim of a violent crime. It just didn't happen. There is no evidence of it. Which leads us to the next part of all this, because we know investigators have said from the beginning this is a targeted attack. So why these students? Why? And I don't know, and I've said this already on the show, that prosecutors don't need to prove it, but there is still a question out there, because in a case like this, people want to understand what happened, why it happened, what is going on in the mind of an alleged killer, you know, why these 4, why this house, all of that. And it's hard to say because you're going into a very dangerous place, which is the mind of this accused psychopathic killer. So I don't know if we get the answer to it, but we might be able to kind of figure out what was going on, you know, because there were 12 times before the night of the murder, at least 12 times that he was there, staking him out, observing what's going on in the house. That's what prosecutors are going to allege and what they're going to argue and what they're going to try to prove at trial is that he was there again and again and again, late at night, early morning hours, observing what's going on in this area and what's going on inside that house. And that's significant. But it still doesn't necessarily answer the question, why this house, why these students? But it does explain part of his behavior. Now, also at the house before the night of these murders were police. It's a college town. There are parties, there are incidents, there's, you know, drinking going on, there's music being played, there's other neighbors who might say, hey, things are getting a little rowdy, and might make a call to police, and police may come by to deal with that. It's just, as I said, very normal very ordinary in college towns. It's just the way it is. Just the way. I have one son in college now, another who graduated a couple years ago. We know what happens in colleges. We just know. So there is body cam footage, and this is interesting because really for the first time we get to see Kaylee Goncalves and hear her speak and get a flavor for what type of person she is, because police respond and go to her house. I'm going to show you that video. This again, this is from August, all right? This is like about a week before classes start. And police go to the house. Let's see what happens.
Upstairs to the back deck. Interesting.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
And I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Fair.
You go to school?
Yeah.
Okay. What year?
Senior.
Senior. Okay. So I'll tell you the same thing I told them. You probably know the drill, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, okay. So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
Okay.
Once I have neighbors calling in, your music's too loud, you're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties, nothing against having people over who are overage to drink. But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
Noise ticket is up to 300.
Yeah,
and
somewhere around 300, 400.
Okay, it's a pretty expensive ticket. I don't want to give that to you. That being said, this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible. Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab your info.
Yeah.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300-some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair. Absolutely.
Sounds good. I'd much rather you spend that $300 on beer or something fun than
Yeah.
a noise ticket, right?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That being said, warnings. Don't do it again.
Yep.
I'd hate to come back in a few hours and then have to issue that. So,
Yeah.
any questions for me?
No.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Interesting, right? And you get to see the way Kaylee was, and she's very mature. I mean, college kid, but like very responsible. Almost looks like she's dressed for a job interview. Very fascinating to see. And the descriptions we've heard kind of fit what we saw in that moment where police are knocking at your door. A lot of composure. All right, let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Kalyee Painter joining us live tonight outside of that house in Moscow, Idaho. Kalyee, great to see you tonight. So there's more to that video. There's a couple different perspectives. What did we learn?
Yeah, this is a very revealing video to give viewers a perspective of this King Road neighborhood, as it's referred to in that probable cause affidavit. And there's several things that are sticking out to me. First, just seeing Kaylee, how chilling that is, months before her brutal murder in the home behind me. But another thing that sticks out, and we've shown you this on your show before, Vinnie, is that there's no fence around this property. You can see how easily the authorities, the police, were able to walk from the road all the way back to the front of the house, to the back of the house, and access the back glass sliding door freely and knock on that door. In fact, all the way around the property, except for the private property that has its own private fence there, you can access this home. And we've shown you the perspective from the parking lot where the apartment building is above the backyard of this home that is accessible. That's where authorities spend a lot of time searching when this has been roped off. But here's more of that perspective from the body cam video. Also, what stands out in this body cam video is it starts actually about 50 yards down the road to my left, where I'm standing currently at, again, off-campus student homes. We're really close to Frat Road. This is an area, a neighborhood that is known for the parties, not just at the house behind me, but on the street. So originally, the officer stopped down the road and talked to young men about the noise complaint. He also gives them a warning as well. And what our neighbors are telling us in this corner area of King Street, it's also where Kaylee's ex-boyfriend at the time, Jack DeCoeur, resided, really close to this home. And so they're at the first stop for the authorities, and they walk down a very short distance. You can watch this on this body cam video, and walk a very short distance to where we are here at this home. And again, this video taken August 16th. The fall semester started at the University of Idaho August 22nd. So this is normal, like you said, leading up to the semester starting here on campus and what it would look like.
We're watching that walk now. So this is the walk from Kaylee's boyfriend's house to their house, right? So this is walking the streets
Right.
of the neighborhood, and it's so close. And I think the significance there, right, is just before the murder, that's who they're communicating with. Kaylee and Maddie are both texting Jack, who is Kaylee's boyfriend, again, which was the site of this other party where police went to that day.
Exactly. So again, I'm estimating less than 50 yards from this home would be the home. It's a dead-end area, kind of maybe a cul-de-sac with multi-unit resident homes, much like the one behind me where the crime happened, where students lived. And neighbors telling us, yes, the ex, Jack DeCour, so close by where Kaylee was, and she and Maddie were texting him up until 2:52 a.m. Before they were brutally murdered in this home. Very chilling information.
And again, walking in that neighborhood and seeing all the people that are there, to commit a murder in that neighborhood, I think it would take, you'd really have to kind of case the place out to see what the normal movements and when people go to sleep, because with that many college students on a weekend night in such close proximity to one another, and a lot of them know each other. So was the accused killer near the house in that same month of the body cam footage that we just saw, which is August?
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, how heavily traversed this neighborhood is, Vinnie, as I'm sitting here, there's foot traffic, car traffic, school starts tomorrow. So this is the same type of scene as they would have seen in August with another semester beginning. It is busy around here. And yes, according to that probable cause affidavit, allegedly Bryan Kohberger's cell phone is pinging him in the cell towers here for 1122 King Road 12 prior times to the murder. It says all of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evenings and early morning hours of those respective days. And on one of those occasions, August 21st, 2022, his number utilized cellular resources providing coverage to the King Road residents here from approximately 10:30 p.m., 10:34 to 11:35 p.m. At approximately 11:37 p.m., he is stopped by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke. That's not far, in fact. So he spends about an hour here. According to this affidavit, his cell phone's pinging here. And not far, a couple minutes later, it only takes a couple minutes to get to Farm Road and the Pullman Highway. We went there today to get video of this, where he was pulled over by Latah County Sheriff's for a traffic violation, an infraction, specifically according to court records, not wearing his seatbelt. And again, it's after 11:30 p.m., according to this affidavit, where he would have been pulled over at this intersection. His cell phone also pings at that intersection, so they're able to not only match him with this vehicle that they've identified, pull him over, but also his cell phone's consistent with the movements of his vehicle that night, Vinnie, and they won't release that actual body cam that they have of that August 21st detainment, whatever you want to call it, where they did give him a ticket for not wearing his seatbelt. And again, that is August 21st. That body cam we just watched, August the 16th. School started August the 22nd.
It's all the kids. He knows all the students are back, and he's in that area for over an hour near the house. The intersection where he's pulled over, I saw the University of Idaho sign. Is that's the sign we've been seeing from the beginning, and where they put the flowers in front of? Also to the right, is that the field where the other body cam footage is from the night of the murders, or is this a different area?
It's a different area, Vinnie. It takes about a couple of minutes because, again, it doesn't take long. He's here at 11:35 p.m., approximately 11:37, just a couple of minutes drive, and you drive through campus to reach this intersection. where you see, because you can see the University of Idaho sign. It's the campus right there at that intersection where he would pull onto the main highway. That Pullman highway goes to Pullman. He was on his way home, allegedly, when he pulls off into that. But no, that's not the field. That's just another part of campus. It looks pretty similar, consistent throughout there.
You know, putting the two pieces together now, so we know like August 16th, big parties in that neighborhood, and then he's in the neighborhood that following week, like 5 days later. The question is, was he there beforehand? Do we know? We don't know yet if he was there when these parties are happening, if in fact if that's what drew him to the neighborhood, whether it was the houses and the parties or an individual. But let's get back to another individual. We've been talking a lot about Kaylee Goncalves. I understand she has some sort of a connection that you found to Washington State University, which is the school where the accused killer went, which is, again, 10 to 15 minutes away from the University of Idaho campus.
Yeah, we did. In fact, when I was there yesterday digging up some information, we stopped to grab a bite to eat at a place called The Coug. It's a very prime location, WSU campus, and it was packed full of students, bar and grill. It's actually a tradition, according to their website, since 1932. And what I could tell, there were at least 2 young women with banners celebrating their 21st birthday. So it's a place you go to celebrate your 21st birthday. And we found Kaylee's name on the wall. So you go into this, The Coug, and you sign the wall. And you leave your mark on the establishment. And Kaylee's name is on the wall there. She put Kaylee's 21, and she puts her sorority on there at this rival school. Again, it's WSU, not where she attended. And it's also well known, and Kaylee's mother has put out a photo of Kaylee there at the bar, saying that's one of her most favorite photos of her daughter Kaylee, her smile, that she's at this bar at a rival school across state lines, and putting her name on the wall at The Coug. So she had a connection there at the campus, and it goes to show how close these two schools are. It doesn't take long to drive from one campus to another, and maybe somehow, again, her birthday, June 8th, where she turned 21. Was she there on June the 8th at WSU campus, celebrating her birthday there at The Coug?
Wow. And do we know, and my recollection of the timeline of when the accused killer rolls into town from Pennsylvania, is it in June? Is it after June? Do we even know?
We don't know, obviously confirmed, but the affidavit, we do know, it states that they obtained his historical cellular data for his phone dating back to June, which makes me believe that that was the time he was here in the Washington, Idaho area, where they would want to track his history from that date. So again, in June, he was possibly in Washington, moving into his apartment, getting ready for graduate school, and maybe somehow ran into one of the victims, possibly Kaylee. We know now that she spent time there.
She spent time there, and when it's your 21st birthday, it's a big deal. You let everyone in the place know you're signing up, so anyone else is there, they're going to notice you. Okay. Chanley Painter outside the site of the murders in Moscow, Idaho. She's staying with us. We've got more to get to, including retracing the steps of the accused killer before the murder, where he went, where he stopped, what he saw, plus coming up next hour.
In Cohasset, Massachusetts, mother of 3, Anna Walsh, has been missing since New Year's Day. Her husband, Bryan, has been charged with misleading police, and now devastating evidence being revealed by prosecutors. Google searches about dismemberment and, quote, how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body.
He's on surveillance at that time, purchasing about $450 worth of cleaning supplies. That would include mops, bucket, tops, T-Vex, drop cloths, as well as various kinds of tape.
This case this ever comes back, I'll try the damn thing again because Mark Jensen belongs in prison.
Mark Jensen.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of intentional homicide.
She was poisoned by him using ethylene glycol.
Set to be retried after his conviction was overturned.
He deserves a new trial that is a fair trial.
Now a second jury will determine his fate.
And our cameras will bring you every moment.
The antifreeze murder retrial. Live coverage begins Wednesday morning at 9/8 Central. Only on
Starts with Snuggle.
I usually go to Idaho a lot, like for Dutch Bros or Target. So like knowing it was just like right down the road, like 10 minutes, that I go there like once or twice a week, it like made me like less willing to go out there. Like I would have to like go out there with somebody. I think he like actually lives really close to my apartment, so that even felt like even more scary.
That's putting it mildly, right? A little scary that this killer was close to her apartment over there in Pullman, Washington, on the campus of Washington State University. Let's bring back in Chanley Painter, who is with us in Moscow, Idaho. But I know you were on the road again today, Chanley. What were the defendant's movements before he left Washington State University on the 13th, the nights of the murder?
Yeah, we began dissecting the affidavit in those movements immediately preceding the actual murders here at the crime scene. And so here's what the affidavit says for that part. It says on November 13th, 2022, at approximately 2:42 a.m., Kohberger's phone was pinging at his home, Kohberger residence. So he's at home at 2:42 a.m. At approximately 2:44 a.m., November 13th, the suspect vehicle was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At 2:47 a.m., his phone is using the cellular resources that provide coverage southeast of his home, his apartment, consistent with his phone, leaving his residence and traveling south through the city of Pullman, Washington. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the phone stops reporting to the network. It is off or in airplane mode at that time. At approximately 2:53 a.m., the suspect vehicle is observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington towards SR 270, which is the main road out of town, the direct road between Pullman, Washington and here in Moscow, Idaho, Vinnie. So earlier today, we traced these steps. And I want to show you some of the visuals of what this would look like. Again, he's making this at 2:47 a.m. in the morning, so it's dark. But our video will show you Nevada Street. It's on the campus of Washington State University. It's a very short street. It is basically a side road where you would kind of turn in and turn around into a parking lot and back. But it's an intersection between Nevada Street and Stadium Way. Stadium Way is the main thoroughfare towards WSU. Earlier today when we were retracing this with school starting, we were stuck in traffic a long time on Stadium Way. It is the main drag. But here's a look at that intersection where Nevada Street would be. Now, what stood out to me being here on location and dissecting these times that he's here and that he's not only seen on surveillance video, that white SUV, the white sedan, suspect vehicle 1 as it's referred to in the affidavit, but also the cell phone that belongs to him, again, using the cellular resources in this area. And the time is telling to me, Vinnie, because again, he's there at the WSU on this street, 2:44 a.m. It only took him a couple minutes to get there from his home. And then at 2:47 a.m., his phone goes dark. But at 2:53 a.m., he's still there on Nevada Street, Stadium Way, seen finally leaving and turning onto that main highway. So for approximately 10 minutes almost, he's in this area. It's an area not far from where he went to school and taught at the criminology building, a couple blocks away from Nevada Street, Stadium Way. But the timing there, the fact that Nevada Street is a place that you would really pull in and park. There's a parking lot there. And as we sat there shooting this, I thought, okay, he has this time frame of almost 10 minutes. He turns off his phone, according to his affidavit. Is this the time that he said, okay, there's no going back. Here we go. I'm turning off my phone. Let's do this, Vinnie. That's what really stood out to me as we started to dissect his movements.
And we got a shot of the camera there at the intersection. That's significant as well, and because it's capturing some of these images and can help put together the timeline. And that timeline, again, very peculiar, very telling that it's not like he's just turning off the phone and he's going. No, he's like, he's waiting a moment there and, you know, perhaps gathering himself, getting up the nerve to commit mass murder. I don't know what goes through someone's mind like that, but very significant. Now, what does he do once he gets to Moscow that night?
So, Vinnie, remember, he has turned off his phone, and this affidavit is very clear that there's this dark period where his phone is off, but he has been tracked moving towards Moscow and then will later pick up after. But again, he's in this white sedan. They've identified as suspect vehicle number 1, and they're able to pick up through their video canvases his movements once he is in the town here of Moscow, Idaho. In fact, the affidavit says that he's on Indian Hills Drive, like the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow. This is the next time that he's seen, according to this affidavit. Well, we retraced those steps, Vinnie, and I'm driving through this neighborhood. It's a residential area, and I kept thinking, why is he here? What is the point of being in this random neighborhood where homes are? And we're driving down Indian Hills Drive. Here's a map of it. You can see Indian Hills Drive in Moscow. See where that police department is? We have video of the view. I'm driving along Indian Hills Drive, and all of a sudden I see this. I can't really see what you're seeing, Vinnie, but boom, there's the police station. It's a direct line of sight from this Indian Hills Drive, this neighborhood. It looks directly over the police station. And again, he's said to be here at, I believe it was 2:53. I'll have to look at the exact time. I have it right here. But he's said to be there in the moments leading up to the murders. There's the video. Okay, I see it now. There's the video. So
that's amazing, Chanley. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, as clear as day, you can see the police station. And, you know, there's not a ton of officers in Moscow, but you can see who's on duty, things quiet, what's going on, who's where. Are they out patrolling?
Yes.
Where are they? And boom, then he's kind of hanging out in a strange place.
Yes, it's a way to scope out maybe the police department without getting caught on their cameras, Vinnie. It's an overlook. How many times was he here before?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It didn't make sense. It's a strange route, and is he waiting for things to clear up? Is he waiting to see what's going on? Has he in the past perhaps taken a look at police and what their patterns are that time of night as well? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe investigators do. Didn't need to put it in the affidavit, but they may have some of that information.
Right.
Fascinating stuff.
Exactly. And there's more.
He's got more. Go ahead.
Vinnie, we've got more. So again, this is 3:26 a.m. He's placed there by probably Ring camera, home video camera in that sedan, Vinnie. So as I'm making my way, retracing these steps, we can pull up the map again. There's a way that he's then seen on Steiner Drive, an intersection between Steiner, as you see there, and I-95, where he crosses over, and that's presumably the way he goes to the crime scene. Again, this is before the murders, 3:26, 3:28 a.m. He's picked up on these videos. At 3:29, just for reference, he's in the King Road neighborhood where the crime scene is on that map. But see where it says gas station? Remember when weeks ago we were covering and reporting that the gas station attendant on Troy Road was, it was late one night. She was going through surveillance video, when police were searching for this white Hyundai Elantra, Vinnie. And she came across what she thought was this white Hyundai Elantra passing through at times during or before the murder, at a time frame that would be before what we know now to be the time of the murder. Here's what that looks like today. We went to that gas station. This may explain why they were seeing that white Hyundai Elantra drive by, because if he's going, there's the screenshot. If he's going through, the Fox News reported the screenshot. If he's going through Indian Hills, he's scoping out the police department, he circles back around. We inadvertently took this route today trying to get back to Steiner Drive, Vinnie, where you would go out, exit that neighborhood on Troy Road, pass this gas station, and take a left onto Steiner, which leads you directly back to that crime scene.
Which is exactly what was described by the attendant, that the white Elantra turned back into a neighborhood. And at first we thought this was the escape route, but this is the approach route, not the escape route. This is what's taking place prior to the murders. Amazing what investigators have been able to put together here with the help of the public, obviously, through cell phone data and a lot of surveillance videos. It's starting to paint a much clearer picture. Is that all, Chanley?
All for now. We have much more coming up on your show tomorrow, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Chanley Painter in Moscow, Idaho tonight. Thank you so much. When we come back, folks, we're going to bring in our experts to do a little analysis of everything that Chanley is talking about, everything that we're taking in tonight. Don't go away. The life of Alec Murdaugh is bizarre. It is complicated.
This great South Carolina attorney is charged with the murders of his own wife and son.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Who exactly is this guy?
Everybody knows the Murdaughs. It's a household name.
Family that is so powerful. Who knows where this thing is going to end?
This case needs to be resolved. We need to put this behind us and move on.
Murdaugh Family Murders. Live coverage beginning January 23rd, only on Court TV.
Is this 1122 here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd much rather you spend that $300 on beer or something fun than
Yeah,
a noise
yeah.
ticket, right?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was in August, okay? That's August 16th when Kalyee Goncalves is speaking with police who are responding because of some noise complaints, some parties in that entire neighborhood, giving them a warning. So we also know, though, that the suspect, the defendant, the accused killer, was in that neighborhood in August as well. Specifically, we know for sure on August 21st, 5 days later, because he stopped by police after prosecutors say for an hour he is right in the vicinity of the home where the murders took place. Let me bring in my experts, get some perspective on this. In Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist of Inside the Criminal Mind, Dr. Carol Lieberman. And in Salt Lake City, Utah, retired police commander, host of the Profiling Evil podcast, Mike King is with us. I presume you're in Utah, but you could be anywhere in the world because you're always traveling, Mike.
Yeah, I'm here.
You are?
I'm here
Good.
in Utah.
All right. All right. From both of your perspectives, which are different in this case, what is the significance? What are you thinking about when you hear that there's these parties in the neighborhood, school's about to get going, and the suspect is hanging out in the neighborhood just before classes start, the night before classes start, for an hour right by the site of the murder? Dr. Lieberman.
Well, first of all, I think Chanley did an amazing job of sleuthing in terms of finding out where Kaylee spent her 21st birthday in that club near Washington State University, because that was in June, and June was when they started getting the pings from Bryan's phone. Now, you know, I have said all along that he's an incel and that he was stalking them. The significance, though, is that Kaylee's father had been saying not only that she did have a stalker, that she told him she had a stalker, but that when he was arrested, when Bryan was arrested, the father had this look of, you know, that he realized something. He was like, aha. And it was like he said, I see the link now. And since then, his lawyer has been coming out, and he too has been coming out saying, oh no, there's no link. And Chanley just found the link, at least one of the links, and I think it's a significant link because of it being in June when the pings started.
Mike King, your thoughts about this activity taking place in the summertime?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for us to realize what these predators will do in the fantasy stage and the preparatory stage. And I hate to pick on hunters, but you think about hunters who go out in the woods 2 or 3 weeks before the hunt so they can get a sense of where the game are going, what the habits are, where they're getting water. It's no different when we talk human predators, Vinnie. These suspects, these criminals, go out and they try to understand the risks that they're facing. They try to understand, because bottom line is they want to be successful. And I'll tell you what, I think there was a lot of pre-planning going on.
All right, Mike King, Dr. Carol Lieberman, we're short on time tonight, but you know we will continue to cover this story and ask for your help. Thank you so much.